Hi everybody, this is Agnes from No Sediment and welcome to the very first No Sediment podcast. Today I'm very happy, I'm truly very happy that you are my very first person to interview, and he is the owner and the winemaker of Rivetto Winery in Barolo. I actually know your winery and your wines and you quite a long. I think I was counting today. I think it was more than 10 years.
More than 10 years.
Yes.
Sure.
So maybe you can tell a little bit about yourself to those people who don't know you very well. Maybe also talk a bit about the Serralunga and the Barolo itself.
Yes, I'm the fourth generation of winemaker of my family. And we are based on the hill called Lirano between two small villages. One is called Signo and the other one is Serralunga d'Alba. I'm very lucky because I have 35 hectares almost in the same place. 15 hectares are vineyards, and all the other parts are hazelnuts, woods, and some alternative projects that maybe we can talk later on. I belong from an old family winery in the region, but starting from 2009, we started to change a little bit the vision of the winery and of the land.
Okay, all right. So I saw yesterday some videos about what happened here. There was crazy wind. Some places even had hail. So can you maybe talk a bit, how is this vintage shaping?
This vintage, it's for sure not easy vintage. Not only because of this big event happens yesterday, so with the big hail. Thank God we were not so much affected, but a lot of my colleagues in the area of Diano and in the Roero, many vineyards were completely destroyed, not only for this vintage but also for the next we are coming. But 2023 was a very difficult vintage because May was very, very rainy. And January, February, March and April, no rain. So no one drop of rain for the entire first part of the year. And in May practically was raining every day or every two. And that's May is the period where it's the more sensitive part of the year, May, June, because there is the blooming, because the diseases are quite important. But I have to say that our approach that we had on the vines, on the vineyards, biodynamic and organic, we had a very, very good results in terms of protecting from disease.
Okay, that's great. And that's actually something that I really want to talk about right now, or specifically in this podcast, because you were the very first Barolo producer to fully convert to biodynamic viticulture. And to my knowledge, you are still the only one right now in the region.
You are correct, partially correct, because if we talk about certification, yes, I'm the only one certified Demeter in this case, and also Biodynamic and in the area, but I have to say that there are other 6-7 wineries who are working seriously biodynamic, but they are not certified.
They're not certified. Okay. So before we move on, I was reading a little bit about the biodynamic viticulture, and which I thought was interesting. And so some say that it is supercharged version of organic. It includes preparation of quite bizarre teas and following lunar calendar. So can you, before we move on, can you tell what is biodynamic to you, or what is that you understand is biodynamic?
Biodynamic is a way to understand more yourself and the connection you have with the nature and with the cosmos. It's not specifically connected with the agriculture, it's something that comes later on. I'm not the person who was reading biodynamic books and I was like flashed. Absolutely not. My changement is because I was curious and had the requirement to do something different, because I was not more, what I was doing in my vineyard was not what my inside was alienated. It was not more alienated. So I had to find something else. And in the biodynamic, I think there are some inputs very interesting. To understand better how it works, especially under the point of view of the microorganism of the soil. The goal of the biodynamic, to my point of view, is to have a soil more alive. As if we have a soil more alive, everything is get easier. So when we are talking about lunar things, about the strange preparates, it's something that in the last 78 years we decide to forget, to say that there are crazy things. But if we come back in our history, it was normal to look at the sky and to have a message from the cosmos or interact with the cosmos. It was normal. Mm-hmm. Just after the revolution, the Illuministic revolution and all this mechanic way of thinking, we were completely changing and say, this is not good, that's good, that's the true, and that's the false stuff. I don't think it's like this. I think there are a lot of practical manner you can do in your vineyards, following the biodynamic. But if tomorrow morning there will be something better than biodynamic, or that I feel is better, I'm gonna raise the bar or change. Okay. We are here to understand, to evolve, and to try to experiment.
Okay. All right. So for you, it is more than agriculture. It's the kind of state of mind, or just thinking.
It's a help. Okay. It's a help to understand. Some dynamic that in the past were completely forgotten. But if I tell you about the compost, it's something that is part of the biodynamic culture. But the compost is, if you go everywhere in the world, the old people, the farmer people, they have the compost at home. They take the manure to put in the vineyard, in their gardens or whatever.
Yeah.
It's something that belongs from our tradition and our culture and our knowledge, because we know that but after the World War II, everything was changed because the manure was not more trendy, was much more easy to buy a bag of magnesium, nitrogen, potassium, which is much more easy.
Yeah.
And probably also in according to the interest of big companies was more, getting more money. And so that is something that we are coming back in somehow, but we are more aware of what we are doing.
Okay, great. And so can you talk a bit how much did it take time for you to convert? So when was it? When did you?
2009.
2009 you received your certification, or?
No. 2009 was the vintage, the year where I started to change everything.
Okay.
From 1 second to the other second.
All right.
I was not thinking too much.
Okay, and then so in 2009 you started, and when did you
the first vintage certified biodynamic was 2019.
19, so 10 years.
I started the process officially 5 years before, but the biodynamic is not a question of year. It's not like organic that it's enough to have 3 years of conversion. Biodynamic can be 10 years, can be 3 years, can be all life, because you need to reach some criteria that if you don't get it, you will not have the certification. But we don't have to follow. I don't want that you focus too much on the piece of papers. Mm-hmm. The piece of papers are something that attest one work. Because I know that many people are talking, and I would like to. When I talk, usually it's something that I do also.
Yeah.
Or before I do and after I say what I was doing. So this certification helps me to attest what I was doing.
Yeah. Okay, but I want to talk about more. You said like there are some specifications that you need to do in order to receive that certification. So is it something that you kind of check, I have these biological corridors?
Almost.
Check. Or is it something more towards we go inside your land and we dig in and we see how life...
It's a combination of the two.
Okay.
It's a combination of the two. There is also a group of producers, mostly French, called Biodynamic, which is doing more this part, which I like a lot. There is also a feeling. If I have to check one winery who is doing biodynamic, I don't need to check their books. It's enough for me to talk with the producer. And okay. I think in half an hour I understand if he's really believing what he's doing or not. But I think you can do it also. It is not necessarily a genius to understand that.
Yeah.
Because you feel the people. You have also to start to feel the people, and not only to check numbers, to feel the place where you go. we completely forget all this kind of our capacity of doing things. So the feeling, I think, is very important. Of course, it have to be supported from one a little bit more mental part, but I'm learning again how to feel the people, the things, the environment, the place. So that's something that helps me a lot. But the criteria, for example, are having animals, having a minimum of biodiversity, the limit that you have for the spraying for copper and sulfur are less than half of organic.
Okay.
But you have to consider that I'm in Barolo region. So everything what I told you, it's 10 times more difficult in theory. In fact, it's only a mental problem because you lose money. Because here the land is very expensive. So in the south of Italy, it's easier to reach this kind of level because they have more space, they have more, the cost of the land is less expensive, so it's easier in somehow. But here, of course, everything is more difficult because there is a cost of the land that you don't want to lose. In fact, it's just balancing your system. Because my goal is to build or rebuild harmonic agricultural organism. Where the vineyard is the most important part, when the vineyard is the engine, when the vineyard is the heart of the organism, extremely important. But we cannot forget that to be a real team, you need to have the trainer of the team, you need to have the guy who scored the goal, but you need also the people who are in defense, you need also the people who are staying the bench, and you also the people who are cleaning the bathroom and so on. So the team is it's very complex, but also very nice to understand all the relationship.
Yes. So can you tell me a little bit about what was the most difficult part for you when you were in your 10-year conversion to
the most
biodynamic?
Difficult part, I can say, the most difficult part probably was, I have to tell you, there was not something extremely difficult, because for me it was like a challenge and something that I would have to do it, and doing it, I was learning something. But if I tell you the more critical points were the animals, because you need to have animals, and I never had animals. I mean, dog, cats, but that doesn't count this.
Yeah.
So having donkeys, we decided to have donkeys, and we are in plan also to have cows. You need the space, you have to treat them well. They are animals, so you have to take care of them. So I was a little bit worried about this, but now if I have to come back, I cannot have a winery or without animals, because the interaction you have, it's something very important that build this kind of team that I was talking, and you need to have animals in the system. But at the beginning it was really difficult because there are also bureaucratic parts. Because in Italy, like probably everywhere, there are a lot of bureaucracy under everything what you want to add into the winery. And animals, they have some rules. I choose the donkeys, I have to tell you the truth, because they are the easier to keep.
Yeah.
But as I said, we have in plan also some cows.
Some cows. And maybe some birds as well?
I told you we have some swans, but there was
that would be very
which I like a lot because we have a pond, and that's also another part important for this organism, that we have a pure water at 400 meters above the sea level, that we can use for irrigation, to spray, but also to do the biodynamic preparates, because biodynamic preparates, you can't use chlor, so tap water you can't use it.
Okay.
So, anyway, we had the swans inside, but after they ran away. But
I remember the story.
We will buy a new one in the future.
Yeah, introduce. Okay. So, did you receive also some, a backlash from your peers, like the other winemakers, where they're saying like that, Enrico, you're crazy, like Barolo, you can plant Nebbiolo here, you can label it as Barolo, and everybody will buy it. And
you have to consider, first of all, that we are at the border between Nebbiolo and Barolo. So we are on the hill that I can see different world. And that helps me a lot to understand the difference and the privilege that I have to be in this place, which is also something that for me is also a responsibility. Because, I think that if you are considered a as you say, a leader in this in Italy for this type of wines, for red aging wines, we have also act like the leader. So we have to raise the bar and do something more difficult. I think that's the minimum we can do. What the other people say is, I've seen some producers. I was doing the winemaker school, so many producers are also my school friends, so I have a different relationship. But generally speaking, this region, the region of Barolo, it's very conservative, very classic, so they are not very open-minded in this sense. Some producers, they came to visit me to see what I was doing, like I was doing in other place, because I think it's important to exchange and to see not innovative, a different way of thinking. But this area is very difficult. It's very difficult because, as I said, it's very static, it's very conservative, and nobody wants to change the team who win. Mm-hmm. And here everybody win, so why to change? So if you want to change, you change it because you feel it. And we come back to the concept of the feeling. So if you feel it, you do it, otherwise you don't. But it's not a problem. I mean, it's a question of time. Yeah. Or maybe it's a question of experience, of way of living.
Okay. So we have been coming here to Rivetto actually quite a long time. I think, not every time we are in Langhe we stay here, but we more or less like to come and visit you. So I have seen very much how the area has changed. Like just now we walked around and there were hares, there were like bees everywhere, just so live. But so what for you have been the most important changes in the vineyard, in the cellar, and then maybe with the wine sales or how your wine is perceived, like these three topics?
The changement, the bigger changement is in myself.
Okay.
And all the other things are consequences. So if you start to think in a different way, if you start to think in a more enthusiastic in somehow, but also that you see that something that is good for you is also good for the whole, it's something that you understand that it's the right way. So if you do something that excites you to do it, and at the same time you can help somebody else, or it can be the environment, but can be also people. Because I don't know if I just mentioned here, we have also a project. This hill is a kind of project now. It's not only a winery. We have a lady who is taking care of our woods. Because when I started to think in a different way, I was attracting other people that needed a place like this to show their talent. In Italy, we are always, in the past, were fantastic to be creative and to produce beauty. We completely forget how to produce beauty. And that's what I try to do. And beauty for me are what you have seen this morning: colors, smell, taste, but also having people who can interact in their organism and show their talent. This lady who is taking care of the woods, another guy who is taking care of my aromatic herbs to do a line of cosmetics. We have the garden, the greenhouse. We have a guy who is taking care of our 6 hives of bees. We just built an association, no profit, with an education program for homeschooling. So we have 24 homeschoolers from September who start to learn about, of course, mathematics, Italian, all kind of regular subjects, but in the nature, in a winery. So they will really change. I stop to complain. I want to do something. And I do in my microcosmos what it's excite me, and also that I can help somebody else. And they automatically can do the same. And that means changing the things, not just be green or show a piece of paper. Do. Because most of the people, they are thinking good, they are feeling good, but after they don't do. Because doing here, it's difficult. Because we are in the jungle. So to answer to your question, sorry if I was starting from the prehistory.
No, I like it.
But what you see outside is just a consequence of your actions and your belief. And I started to learn that something which is not producing money, it doesn't mean it is useless. Mm-hmm. But for sure, we need to have the part that makes money. Otherwise, we cannot support all the system. But the money are a form of energy. You decide how to use it. on the black side or the white side, or I don't know, in the red side. I don't know.
Yeah.
It depends
Yeah.
how you want. So that's the idea. So the create organism with people comes, give their talents. I am happy. I learn, and they learn, and they are able to show what they are doing and what they are.
So the most important change is within yourself.
Always, when you do a changement, first you have to change something inside of you. Otherwise,
Okay.
what you see outside is the reflection of what you are inside. Well, Gandhi was saying that, I don't remember. But anyway, something like this.
But I still want to circle back to that cellar, because so many people have told that biodynamics only refers to what is done in the vineyard, but then it gives freedom in the cellars. Like
No. The cellar, not. The cellar we were, I have to say the truth, we were already before very close to what we are doing now. So the bigger revolution was outside in the vineyards, in the fields. In the cellar, basically in according to this Demeter certification, you can just have a soft filtration and use a gel bentonite for the clarification, which is a clay, and sulfites. But sulfites are with the lower limits. If I not remember well, is around 80 milligrams per liter of sulfites for the red wines. But all our wines, because of our way of thinking, are all below 60.
Okay.
But sometimes we are focusing a lot on the sulfites, but there are a lot of other not nice things that we can add in the wines that nobody talks, but they are much worse. But anyway, that's another topic.
Yeah, it is. But if you touch that topic, may I quickly ask you, what is your view on the new legislation that is coming for the European Union with the label that will say or state all the additions?
I will tell you when I see the final.
Okay.
Yeah, because they change. I've seen billion of changement of.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that if you will, we should say what there is inside of the wine, because it is the only one alimentary product that is not
regulated that way.
No,
yeah.
Because if you buy whatever all kind of beverages or food, you need to write what is inside.
Yeah.
So I'm not against that.
Okay.
But I know that you have to plan to have a very big back label.
Yeah.
Or QR code. Or
exactly. I'm just thinking that do the regular wine consumer understands, because now, at least now, some people consider sulfites being bad, but actually they are good. They are kind of saving and preserving your wine.
Yeah.
So then there's a question, do they understand, and will they have the same will they perceive the wine?
It's a very difficult answer, because the people should know more and should be more educated about what they eat and what they drink in general, but it's not like this. Mm-hmm. So it's not only a question of some milligrams of sulfites, it's a question of the accumulation of all small toxic elements during the day. But we can talk about the air that we breathe. So it's something really very wide problem. But if you start to go to the regular market and ask to the guy who sells tomato or something new, I know that this vintage was very bad. What kind of treatments have you done? It's enough this question and you change the world.
Okay.
And that's what my father is doing. Is going to the market and say, oh, sorry, I know that this year was bad for peaches. How you have these peaches so nice? Or you are fantastic, or I think you are treating a lot this year.
Yeah.
When you were treating last time.
Oh.
This is something to stimulate the market. And if it's one, everybody thinks it's crazy because they think it's crazy.
Yeah.
So they don't care. But if every person who's going to the market and ask, I think that things is going to change.
Okay.
I don't buy it for you anymore. You sprayed 10 days ago. I don't want that. This vintage is difficult. It's raining every day.
Yeah.
But you need to have the culture. And the culture is coming from when you are a child. And that's why we started with the school.
Yeah.
Because they start to know how to prune a fruit trees already when they have 8, 9 years old. They start to understand, but they already know, in fact, the physiology of a tree. How it works. So for them it's automatic. Why I have to do that? It's stupid. Why I have to do it? So
Very
the
good.
problem we are the problem because we have just to disintoxicate of our what we are used to do. They are open, they are pure, so we have not touched too much, but
Okay.
help them to understand that the nature is the. I know that I say something very rhetoric, but if you follow the nature, if you go in the woods, usually you always have an answer for something. Because in the nature there is the perfect balance. Also in the bad things, because nature is not only good.
Of course.
We have seen yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's part of the life, and you can teach to a child that there is also bad things in the life, and you have to be ready. That is not always
Flowers and
but,
birds
you know,
singing.
But
Yeah.
we have to know there are both the things, and I think that's something who help us to change, a real change, not just.
What I wanted to ask you is that we often talk about biodynamic organic sustainability, but people tend to forget that sustainability is also, it has to be also economic. And so what I wanted to ask you, with biodynamic conversion, have you seen opening new markets for you? Have you seen that you can dictate maybe higher prices for your wines? Is that also?
Yes, a good question. Yes, I have more for sure. It's more attractive my wines because there is also this story and this project behind. But in our specific region, because I'm producing Barolo also, Nebbiolo, and all other wines, but Barolo is the most important. The consumer who buys Barolo buys Barolo. It's not so specifically organic Barolo or biodynamic Barolo. Barolo is a stronger name. So if I was in Sicily or Basilicata or Puglia, maybe this biodynamic could be much more impressive and important. In Barolo, for somebody who really knows technically, knows that it's a big jump. But the consumer, they wants to buy Barolo, and it's not so sensitive in this. But it's a part of my way of thinking. So if somebody buys my Barolo, knows all the stories. But it's not so automatic, as you said. But it's true that in some market I had some advantage, maybe compared to other my competitor, because we have some plus, let's say. But it's not so strong like I was in another region.
Okay, all right. And what I have written here as well is that everybody understands that the way you are farming, and we also touched that at the beginning, that it is more expensive. You're literally giving away your land to more woods, to more trees, instead of planting vineyards. So can you tell me by what percentage maybe increased your wine production costs? That's very specific, if you know.
It's not a question of cost, because the cost, it's what you have lost if you exploited all the land. It's not extra. Okay, there is an extra cost because you have to take care of the row of lavender in the first 2-3 years. But when they are stable, you don't have so much cost in terms of work in the first 2-3 years, of course.
Yeah.
But in terms of what you lost, I mean, you have a land, you can exploit 100% of this land, because in our mind, our way of thinking is 100% exploiting.
110.
No, and I should say, no, it should be 80, because 20% you should leave for the balance. But we start from another perspective, that you lost money because you have to exploit each square centimeter. So it's a question of how you see. It's, in fact, we're not increasing the cost. It's just to think in a different way. I'm lucky because producing Barolo, producing Nebbiolos, my target is already higher target. So if I increase 0.5 cents my wine, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Of course, if I produce a wine who costs like €2, 0.5 can be a difference at the end of the 3-tier system or other systems. So I don't see this in a real big changement for us, because I'm in this specific area.
Okay.
So that's an exception of exception, this region.
Yeah.
But it's true that organizing, thinking about an organism like this, changing from one system to another system, it costs time more than money. Money also, but time to understand and to adapt this vision to be in the right balance between two worlds: the world that you want to create and the world that you just want to live. Yeah. You are in the middle. It's like when you play basketball and you have to jump high. If you want to jump high, you have to be on the ground and understand how is the floor. Otherwise, you can jump well. So I'm in this moment, to jump high, but you have to know where you jump.
Okay, but I will still ask you a few questions regarding this, the certification and the Demeter. So you are Demeter certified. By the way, do you make your own?
Not only, we have Biodynamic, Demeter,
so several.
Delinat, BioSwiss, so different. But it doesn't matter. The paper it's not so important.
Yeah, but do you make your own preparations, the teas, or do you?
Some preparations we do in our, for example, the 500 we do in here.
Okay.
Other we outsource because it's. I would like one day. It's a question of people, time, and that's a lot of work.
But you said that you are certified with many organizations, and to my knowledge, all of these organizations require some membership fee.
Of course, they cost.
Yeah.
That's
why so many then?
Because Demeter is the most known in the world, commercial point of view. In Swiss, I have a distributor who require that I'm like this, so they pay for me.
So they require Demeter?
Yeah. Okay. No, not Demeter. They require this Delinat BioSwiss, something specific, and they pay for me. Biodynamic is a French association, which are very serious, and I like to do this not because of the certification, because a group of producers that they exchange a lot of knowledge. So I told you about certification, but are for different reasons.
Yeah.
In fact, I show on the label only Demeter.
So does Demeter?
Because it's more commercial in this sense. It shows immediately. Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. That's true. Does Demeter also require some revenue fee as well?
Of course. That's why I can afford that. Also because I'm a winery that have a good turnover who can do that. If you are a small winery, it's more difficult, and I understand that's a problem.
Okay. Do you think that this is the reason why some of the other winemakers don't certify?
It depends. Some they don't certify because in fact it's expensive and they are small, and some other they don't want because they don't want to be controlled.
Okay. They just want. I've also heard that some say that they want to keep the control. If something terrible happens, then they can come in and kind of save their vineyards, like with spraying, or which might be otherwise forbidden for the.
No, something is forbidden. You can't do that. I mean, I will never use the option to use a systemic product to save because if you do it, because you don't understand how it works.
Okay.
If you want to play the joker, you can't do that.
Okay.
There's no sense.
I've read somewhere, not somewhere, but I've read that some people or some winemakers, they report that some vineyards that were very sick or virus infected and were struggling and producing very low, and they have recovered since they have converted or moved to biodynamic. So the soil is healthier, the wines are apparently they have more energy, or the immune system has grown. That's
for sure. But I'm very practical person, so there are some diseases which the time that we have to wait of recover it's long, and we have not so patient to wait. So for sure, the biodynamic, even if you are not an agronomist, you understand with your eyes that the soil is changed, the vineyards was improved, the fermentations in the cellar are better. You see it. It's easy to understand that. But I cannot tell you, okay, we do biodynamic, I have no more problem of fungus. Mm-hmm. I can't say that.
Of course.
We still need sulfur and copper today. But we can reduce it. We can use propolis, we can use essential oils. of orange, which works very well. We are doing experiment also with the essential oil of sage and rosemary that we produce over here. So there are a lot of things going on. And that helps also the vineyards to become stronger. And that's our goal. But the vineyards become stronger if the roots are in a soil with a good quantity of and variety of microorganisms. So if the soil is alive, the roots feels better, the vineyards feel better. Okay, you too. If you are happy what you do, if your job is good, if you have a good relationship, if you are happy what you are stronger. But of course, if it's coming the malaria, maybe you get it, what you have to do. But maybe it's, you are safer than somebody else who is stressed, who is negative, who is blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So, and the same thing with the vineyards.
Okay.
And you have to consider always, that the vineyards is a composition with two. It's grafted. So
yes.
It's even more complicated. Because I think it's something that produces more problems to the vegetal if you are grafted, because you have two people that have
and the information from the roots.
It's for sure more complicated, but what we can do, phylloxera is phylloxera.
Yes, unfortunately. Is there some difficulties that you have, or maybe some deficiencies in the soil now that you have moved to biodynamic? Maybe, I don't know, nitrogen is some, no?
No, because when, of course, each soil has a different characteristic. So there are some soils with more calcium, with more problem of chloros, whatever. But when you start to add constantly the compost, when you constantly have the herbs, the grass on the fields, where you sow different essence in a constant way, your soil is good. The future problems, the actual problem, in fact, is the compactation of the soil. So going less and less with tractors. That's the only one thing that it's the next step. But today, if you have 1 hectare, you can do it yourself. But when it starts to have like 14, 15 hectares, it starts to become a problem to not mechanize and going fast to spray. So today we still have this compactation. So we work a lot in decompactation and having grass, because the grass open, especially our soil. I forget to tell you, because maybe not everybody knows that the soil in our hill, in Leirano here, we have a lot of clay, a lot of calcium carbonate, but it's very compacted soil. So that's also heavy. Characteristics. There's not so much sand, so it's different.
Yeah, I saw a lot of cover crop, and actually I think for me it is one of the most important things that you don't leave your soil bare, which is very, very important.
I think it's also another aspect that somebody say, but this is organic, biodynamic. Everybody can understand that it's a better soil with a controlled grass than a soil without. Because when it's raining, you understand without having go to the university, you understand if it's raining a lot, like it was like yesterday or in the summer, there is an erosion.
Yes.
If you have the grass, the water is going inside. There are some vineyards in May that probably more than half of the water was fall down, they were not get one drop because it was low in the valley.
Yeah.
But you don't have to be everybody can understand that.
Okay, great. Well, I did enjoy our conversation, but what I want to say, because we did talk about this off camera, but what I wanted to say is that your area, this vineyard area, this one organism, it smells amazing. Like you enter here and it's just, you have rosemary, you have lavender, it just is, and it buzzes, it constantly buzzes, there's a sound, and it's very beautiful to the eye. We did talk about it, that it's also very important for the employees who come in and that they feel comfortable and in harmony in your land, and I'm sure that they do. So I wanted to put it out there so the viewers also know. And are you welcoming people for the visits?
Of course.
That's great, because that's something
come,
they have
they are
to.
more than the welcome, also because I think this place have to be shared, and the people who is interested, of course, can be part of this and understand what we are doing. That's absolutely important.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I think this area, it was beautiful before, because you have this beautiful valley that overlooks the Serra Lunga, but I think it's even more beautiful now. It's just absolutely
I'm happy
amazing
because we have
place.
seen all the changement, because we know since many years, so you have seen all this
Yeah, it's like
this
Eden garden.
changement, and so it's very important that you give your this, how you say, I don't know.
You can say it in Italian. I mean,
Testimonianza.
yeah.
You were coming so many times that you see the developing of the project.
Yeah, and we didn't not. The one thing that we did
And the
not talk-
controversial questions.
No, they were about the pricing.
Already done?
Yeah, it was about the
Okay, so
pricing,
I
and
missed
because I mean, some people, they will say the Demeter is used only for the marketing, and they just ask for money. This is what I asked you.
No,
they
it's
ask
correct.
for the
Allora,
revenue?
look, it's very important. They use for money, and so what? If I do the things that I say, and I use these things, if I use the beauty for marketing, why? What's the problem? I was stealing money to somebody?
Yeah.
No. So I create beauty. This beauty I use to generate some income. I will support again this beauty with the income that I get from the beauty. Why? What's the problem?
Yeah.
If you go to Florence to see the beautiful arts, it's part of the life, no? Creating beauty, the beauty attract the people. They enjoy. They feel good, and they give money to produce again, and more.
Yeah.
So the world should be. We are more trained to beauty. I know, because the beauty costs.
Yeah, that's true.
I know, so you cannot. It's not sustainable. So we don't do it. So if we talk like this, so Florence, Venice was not built because there were people or families. They say, okay, I have money. I take some part of my money and I take Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and do what you want. Express your talent. Do it. But now, no, this is it's not sustainable. I don't. And so what? You make money on other things. Okay, use the energy that you have for something else, and doesn't make money. Who cares?
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, that's the idea.
Yeah. All right. No, that was
Okay.
the controversial part about it, but we kind of
okay.
we're trying
It's
to. Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
Grazie
What I
mille.
wanted to say is that we did not talk about your wine specifically,
No.
but I want to say that so we received from you beautiful vertical, and we will taste it on the camera. And what we want to do, so we want to taste specific vintages. So there will be a rainy one or a cool one.
Different type. We are more colder or warmer.
Yeah.
I was giving you a mix of 6 vintages.
Yeah.
I mean, some a little bit younger, some a little bit more middle. But you will see a difference.
Yeah.
Also a Briccolina Barolo, which is a single vineyard, one of the top crew in Serralunga. So you can see also the difference, because the vineyard is always the same. So,
Yeah.
So you don't have a big changement on that.
Yeah.
So you feel the vintage in the pot.
That
I
will
hope.
be, yeah, hopefully we'll see, and we will definitely put that video out. But I want to say that your wines have always been one of my favorite ones. When I made a video about Barolo, I did pitch that you are still very affordable. Let's be honest, Barolo is getting more expensive every year, and you are still at the affordable part.
Good. I don't know if it's affordable. I think it's in balance.
Yeah. I mean, but Barolo is heading where Burgundy is. I think so.
The Briccolina is more expensive. We have
Yeah.
Barolo less. I mean, we have. I think we are in balance of what we do and what we
Yeah,
think.
you're definitely in balance.
Bene,
Yeah.
bene.
Very great. Thank you very
Grazie
much.
mille, grazie
I
mille,
loved
Agnes.
it, and
Grazie mille.
So I hope you can now run to your vacation. So how long are you?
1 week, 10 days.
Only 1 week?
But no, I go up and down because I have the house at the seaside, so my
Okay.
family is there, so I'm going.
Okay. Isn't it that you usually go like for a whole month off?
No,
No.
1 month, and this is a bit difficult.
Okay. Yeah, you have a donkey.
Difficult. I have the donkeys to take care.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Grazie mille, grazie mille.